Well, it's another day. We had to wait a while for some parts to ship, and of course, you all know how that turned out. 3 days after they were supposed to be here, they told us they never shipped them. That's perfect. So, what do we got here? We're supposed to have alternator bracket, the pulley, the AC manifold fitting kit, and a chrome AC compressor. I'm assuming this is the compressor. It is tiny. Let's look at it first, huh? Since I already started to open the other box. That's okay. We just kind of do what we want around here at the old junk bucket insane asylum. It's chrome. Oh well. I got some mystery yard chickens. They just kind of showed up in my yard one day, and I guess they're ours now. That's pretty cool. So if you're missing some chickens, those are mine now. You got a sticker. That thing is tiny. Okay. I don't know if you're supposed to do that or not. Probably not. Very nice. I like it. I'm not a fan of chrome stuff on engines, but when you gotta have AC, you gotta have AC. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. That's an awful lot of box for that. I'm guessing this is a pulley and pulley. No, that can't be a pulley. It's gonna be a pulley cover. Got to be a pulley cover on that. That is a pulley cover. And I noticed the whole rest of this March belt system afire doesn't have this covers. So probably not even going to use that. Should probably put it back in here since they took all the time to make it scratch proof. Put that right back. Fine. All right. Unnecessary. What I'm hoping we get today, well, besides something done, is the brackets, at least, to mount that AC-ifier. What do we got here? Important notice. Couldn't have been that important, or they would not have made it crumbleable. Crumpleable. Crumple? Crumble's a donut, isn't it? All right. That is an idler pulley, so it looks like we're going to be set. This should be, that's unnamed. I see a bunch of bolts. And that, if I'm not mistaken, yep, that smells like a bracket. We should be able to mount that pump today. Let's see what this says. Big block Chevy. Alternator, power steering, air conditioning kit. And this is how you put it all together. We should be in business. We got one more box. So by the process of intimidation, I should be aware that this is the manifold for the AC pump. Important notice. I see 2 bolts, which would be the man. I meant to do that. That should be the manifold. Good Lord. Manifold. No O-rings. Maybe they're already in the pump. I don't know. That was satisfying. All right. Here's a pro tip for you. A 1970 Torino with a pumped up big block in it makes a great table for opening boxes. This is the trick though, you can't paint it because when you're opening boxes you might, scratch something, and well, you don't want to do that to a painted car. So any way you want it, that's the way we're gonna do it. Just gonna have a little bit of coffee first, rethink all my life's choices. You ever wake up one morning, just about everything you own that has tires on it has a flat? I wonder when the government's finally gonna tell us that aliens are real. I mean, we all know already. Come on, guys. All right, well, I went ahead and took the radiator out, drained all the coolant out. So we got to get a couple of these plugs out anyway and get some new nipples on there so that we can run the heater hoses. And then taking the radiator out of the way is just, it was easy to do, and that gives me much more room for activities. We're going to go ahead and, now that we got that alternator off, see what kind of bracket situation we got going on and make sure that pump's going to fit. Maybe that's what we're looking for. Let's see. That's upside down. Photo 1. Install the crank pulley. And the water pump pulley. Mount the alternator and AC bracket. Okay. Well, this is showing me that this alternator bracket comes off and gets replaced with an alternator bracket that has provisions for an air conditioner. What did I do with my knife? Oh, yeah. It's in my pocket. Sure. Last place you'd look. Nope, don't put it on the paint, dummy. Oh, they went in the kitchen and got some paper towels. All right, here we go. That's going to replace that. And it's a good thing we drained the water, because when you loosen the 2 bolts that hold that bracket on, no, never mind, I'm lying. What did that happen on the other day? I loosened some bracket bolts. Oh, it was on the big block Ford. When I loosened the bracket bolts, water leaked out everywhere because, why not? Now, I know with the new belt type system setup thing. Well, what happened here? You have to put an idler pulley on this somewhere. And I see they got this machined out flat. Look at that, I already got it dirty. Perfect. And that's probably where that idler pulley's got to go. It reconfigures the belt so that everything works. Where's my knife? There it is. You guys keep track of my knife for me, okay? Because I want to keep losing it. Beautiful. It's real nice. Pulley comes with a cover. I don't know, maybe we'll put it on. Sure. Don't see why not. What's this? What's this do? What's this part? Where's my knife, guys? You're supposed to keep track of it for me. What do we got? Oh, a thing. Cool. Alt, act, mid, bricket, pole, assy, Chevy, BB, loop, whoop. Everybody, yeah. Okay. It says to do things. I'm gonna try to figure out what these things are. Basically, just put it on and take it off, and put it on and take it off, and put it on and take it off until everything looks like it lines up and fits. You don't want to see that. All right, so we got that AC pump installed. I don't know, I think we already saw all that. I got the radiator out so that I can get these hose barb nipple things in for the heater core. And we got that condenser in. That showed up finally. I think we got all the parts now, but it's got a little bracket thing that you bolt onto some existing bolts over here, and then it locates a hole for you right here, and then you drill it and you put a grommet in, and that's where that AC line comes out. That's gonna be this one right here. Unfortunately, since this thing's been, you know, obviously modified, that radiator comes all the way over to where I drew this line right here. So this hole isn't gonna work. So I needed to bend this to get it over in this area somewhere. But I don't have a bending die that's big enough to bend that. So what I did is I just took an alternator pulley that I wasn't using, and that's almost exactly 1/2 inch. So I took an alternator pulley I wasn't using and took a 1/2 inch bolt and just hammered it down in there until that was a 1/2 inch and made it fit really nicely around that tube. And then I just put 2 bolts in there, dropped that on there, got this in there and bent it, and it worked pretty good, no kinks. So now this plugs into the condenser this way, and that is going to come out on and hopefully clear that radiator. It will clear the radiator, I already checked. So now I got to find where it's coming out now, put a new hole in there, which is actually going to end up being like right here somewhere. So I might have to move this power distribution lug and do a little bit of finagling with these wires. There's some slack in them, so it shouldn't be a problem. And get that to pop out right there. And then I should be able to put the radiator back in and start buttoning everything up. These hoses that I got, since this isn't exactly a stock configuration on this car, they're all cut to length, and then you got to crimp the ends on. So the cheapest way I figured out to do it, taking it to a hydraulic shop, they can crimp them probably, or a hose shop, they can probably crimp them. But it's a little pricey, and then what I'd have to do is install everything, find out where the hoses go, mark them, cut them, then take everything back apart and have them crimped, and then put it all back together again. So for like $100, I found a crimper on the old Amazon that has all the dies to do all these hoses. It's going to be here today. So I can go ahead and install everything, and then when I get the hoses cut to length, I can just crimp them myself. So that's the plan today. We'll get all of this stuff installed, get that inner fender back in, get the evaporator and all that stuff back in, and then wire this bad boy up, and we'll be that much closer. All right. Well, I tried to drop this radiator in, And this is a big radiator, and you can see where the fans were mounted, they already cut a big chunk of the fan housing out so that the water pump would fit. The problem now is that air conditioning compressor is hitting like right here, and the radiator still needs to go down like 2 inches. And there's nowhere to move this radiator, but I think I have a solution. And here's what I'm going to do. There's just enough room with this low profile spall fan that I can mount the fan inside the shroud, and it'll still be pulling, and the shroud still fits on the radiator, and then there's almost no, it's almost completely flush with the shroud. And the way I'm going to do that, if we move over here, I've already done some measuring and figured out how this is going to work. If I can remember how this fan was installed, I can line it right back up with these holes that the fan bolts in, and then I'm just going to make up, oh, where'd it go? What did I do with my test? Where'd it go? What did I do? So I just measured how much I needed, and then I took some tubing. That's just fuel line, 3/8 fuel line tubing, and then cut that to the length I needed. Ah, here it is. And I'm just going to make 8 standoffs that are going to go right under there like that, and then bolt the fan from this side with like a domed head screw so that it don't protrude out like a hex nut does. And then I'm just going to mount the fans inside the shroud, and then the whole shroud will bolt right onto the radiator. I'll probably have to make a little notch so that this wire can drop down through the bottom, but that's it. And we'll be able to stick that right back in, and now we'll have so much room, hopefully, that it was completely unnecessary for them to even cut this out. Just got to plan ahead sometimes. Let me get that done and we'll see how it fits. Well, we moved over here to the shade to protect my delicate skin. I got one fan mounted. I got all my little standoffs made. Those turned out just great. I'm using a little bit of blue Loctite just to make sure these don't back out and rub against the radiator. That should hold them in place good. Shoot. So they fit really good. The only thing I had to do was trim this brace right here in the middle because it was hitting it a little hard. But it doesn't affect anything. It's not making it flimsy, or it's not making any noise. And then there was no need, of course, I'm sure you guys all saw it and I didn't. There was no need to make a hole here because this goes on this outside anyway. And it's going to plug in right here somewhere. Here's the little screw holes where they got the wires all clipped up. And now if you look at this, the fan shroud and the fan, it's almost flush. I mean, that's minimal. That's going to fix the issue with that water pump pulley hitting the fans right here where someone had already hacked these out. And it's going to hopefully fix our issue with that AC pump hitting this actual motor part. And you know what? It does not look bad. That actually looks pretty nice. I've already tested it up against the radiator, and you can see that it doesn't stick out, so it's not going to hit the radiator. It's going to fit just fine. And we'll maintain our electric fans and our shroud. This actually could possibly be more efficient because the fan will be closer to the radiator. But you know, with this shroud, it didn't seal 100%, but it sealed pretty good. So it probably won't make a noticeable difference, but it could potentially be a little better. Now, here's the other thing I was going to say. If these are too close, where it looks like these fan blades could possibly flex and hit the radiator, that's no problem. We could just space this out a little bit. But I checked, it's not going to be an issue. The way these fans are designed, as long as this plastic piece isn't hitting the radiator, which it is not, then these fans won't hit the radiator either. So, one more to put on, one more crisis averted. And then this should actually look a little better when you look under the hood, because that water pump pulley won't be mashed right into these fan shrouds. Cool. Got the radiator reinstalled. Those fans are tucked away nice and neat. They're not interfering with anything, and look at this. Look at all the room we got now. If this would have been done originally, which is what I would have done instead of cutting those shrouds, it never would have been an issue in the first place. Now here's something that you got to consider, guys, when you're building your car, especially something like this with a punched out big block and he drives it like a madman like you're supposed to. If that's too close to your radiator, especially if you have a fan on there like a clutch fan or a flex fan or really anything, you could tell earlier this was right up inside these fans and they just cut the shielding out where it would fit. What happens in the future when you're romping on this car and you break a motor mount? Because this motor, if you're on that go pedal and that motor mount breaks, it's going to move around a lot. I've seen fans go through radiators, and that was on cars that were designed to have the fan in that location. Being as close as this was, if it broke a motor mount, it would have completely wiped these fans out, and then you'd be stuck. At least with a broken motor mount, you could still drive the car as long as the fans and the radiator are still in good shape. You just got to be gentle. But now that should never be a problem. We got plenty of clearance. And then this is the pipe I had to bend and move. So we got it over here out of the way now. I'm going to do a little reconfiguring with this wiring. I already moved this power distribution lug over. I moved the ground a little bit just to get a little more clearance there. I think we'll be okay now. I'm trying to decide if this hard line needs to go on top of these wires. But what I think I'm going to do is just build some kind of a stand to screw into the frame right there and just hold these wires up out of the way, because they're already rubbing the frame right here really hard, and I don't like that. So we'll probably figure something out to get these up out of the way. Right now I want to get those two 5/8 heater hoses in, and once those are in, I can go ahead and bolt that evaporator housing into place permanently and reinstall this inner fender well. And the reason why I need the inner fender well reinstalled is so that I can route wiring, route hoses, and then the dryer is going to mount on that inner fender well. And that'll tell me where I got to terminate all these hoses and stuff. So that's what's next. Whatever I just said. I already forgot. We're making good progress. I got most of the hose ends terminated. I'm just going to do this last one and show you what we're doing. You have to have a tool to crimp these air conditioning hoses. There's a cheap one you can buy on Amazon that's, I'll show you in a second, like a hydraulic crimper. It works pretty good. So far, we'll see if anything leaks. What you do want to do, and don't make this mistake, is when you line these hoses up and you measure them for where you need to cut them, mark the orientation of the hose so that you don't accidentally clock that end wrong when you crimp it on, because these big hoses don't like being twisted around and they will not line up if you crimp them wrong. So here's the one we're going to work on right now. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I got a mark right here. That's where I'm going to cut it. And then I got a line drawn right here. And what I did is on the fitting that I'm going to be using, see, I should have been ready for this. I drew another line. That way when I find what I'm doing, when I put these together, I can line up that line with that line, and I'll have this clocked in the correct direction. You get lost. You see this hose I'm holding? Pow. All right. You got a baby shield? Can't hurt me with a baby shield. So Too late now, I cut it. Hi. Oh no. Is Daddy working on the car and you're not? Here, let's put this on. Ready? You take that end. Put it right in there. Let's go. I ain't got time to wait. You gotta hurry up. That's it, you're fired. That was your first and last chance, lady. Now I gotta find the correct die and we'll crimp this. And here's our crimper. It's got these changeable dies. Drop in there like that. Just super easy, look, so easy. Okay, then I'm gonna wrap her around there and see how she fits. It's a little loose, but that should bring her down. It's kind of weird because it gives you two different numbers and two different die things. Oh, let's make sure our lines are still lined up. There we go. Got a little pressure on there now. Triple check. And then give her the beans. Beaned up. Bean time. Going to town. Doing a thing. Go power. Something. Alright. There we go. That looks like a really good crimp. We'll get that hose hooked up there. And then we're just about done with the AC hoses. We got heater hoses. I got a list, is what I got. I made a list. I'd show it to you, but I probably lost it already. We'll go down that list and make sure that we check everything off until this thing is done today. Got to get it on the road. Got to get it out of here. Got to get it doing the thing. Got to have it done. Doing the done, going to town. Now don't do what I'm about to do, and that is put all this together and then forget to go back and tighten everything. I'm not going to do that. I said I'm not going to do that. And here's what we got going on down here. I'm just trying to get this suction line hooked up. Looks like I got it started. And here's our hose routing. It's not too bad. It's up off of everything. You're gonna obviously see some hoses, but that don't look too bad. And get all these tightened up. Then we'll look at our list. I think I need to, oh, there we go. Yeah, all right. Then we'll look at our list and move on from there. Well, we got some more work done that we didn't film, and that's because I just had to get this car done. I started a new job, and I pretty much only have weekends now. I installed the new tachometer over there. I put his monitor right there. These are the new AC vents. And the new controls. You know, all this stuff is pretty straightforward. You follow the instructions. Works pretty good. The one thing I did that we did not film was I took the 273 rear gears out and put 411s in. I mean, look up a million videos on the YouTube about rebuilding a 10 bolt. Here's our hose routing situation. Turned out pretty good. Got the dryer tucked up under here. There's our condenser. And that hose crimper that I got, that thing just did a really good job crimping these hoses. Of course, we got the heater lines hooked up now, and this system comes with a valve, so when you turn the AC on, it shuts this valve, so there's no hot water going to that heater core, so you're only getting cold air or the cooling effect of the compressor system, AC, whatever you call it. Like I said, we flipped those fans around and put them inside the shrouds. Now there's all kinds of room there. And We're just about ready to take this thing on a test rip. See if these bald tires can handle 1 or 2 more burnouts. So, I know you guys won't be able to feel it, but I can still show it to you. We're just gonna take this dash cold, whip that AC on, and that is blowing ice cold air, and it's blowing quite a bit. I mean, that's putting some air out, guys. Here's our new tachometer location. All of our monitors over here. Now, I thought this was supposed to be coolant temperature up here. I don't know what that means. I'm not seeing a coolant temperature anywhere, are you? Oh yeah, it's a lot lower geared now, baby. That's already 4th gear, 50 miles an hour. 5th gear, 2,000 RPMs, 55. So 6th gear will just be overdrive. Perfect. And that air conditioning is ice cold, man. It's already chilly willy in here. Boy, shifting this thing is a treat. What was that? Where did I? It boogies. It's definitely got some power. Water temperatures look good. I can't believe that monitor don't have a water temp gauge on it. It has to. I probably just don't know where it is. Don't do that. Feels like it's stumbling a little bit. Temperature's doing great. It's about 190, and this is telling me the fan just came on. We got the AC on high, and it is nice and cool in here. Fifth gear, 50 miles an hour, 2,000 RPM. So 50 miles an hour, 6th gear is basically 1,000 RPM. And that's with 411 gears. So this 6-speed, that thing's just a treat, man. I like that. I got too many gears to choose from, guys. Do I want 3rd or 4th or 2nd or 5th? And then there's 1st and 6th in reverse. I don't know what to do with them all. It's cruising good. I do want to say that that fuel injection system is such a great idea, but it's kind of surging right now. And I don't know if that's because it's been... We're still good. I don't know if that's because it's been unplugged for so long or what, but maybe it's learning still. I mean, it says learning right now, but that's CTS, coolant temperature sensor. Maybe that's the coolant. It's saying 205, and that's just exactly what that mechanical gauge is saying. So maybe that is the coolant right there. Oh, that was a lot smoother than when we first started. So you can go into fourth gear now about 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour. And you're probably just at the low end of fourth gear. You probably don't want to be that slow in it. But with those 273s, he did 120 miles an hour in fourth gear, allegedly. I mean, nobody ever does that, because that would be illegal. Still got nice ice cold AC. So this is a big block Chevy. It's making north of 600 horsepower. At least that was the claim. I believe it. With the 6-speed and air conditioning, fuel injection. It's going to be a nice daily run around car. And I straightened that steering wheel quite a bit and it's still crooked. It was almost completely sideways, so that's better. But when you give this thing a little punch on the gas pedal, it does a little sideways walk on the rear axle there. And that's because the front spring perch on my side is not bolted to the car at all. Whoever put the subframe connectors in this car took that saddle out and just hammered all of the captured nuts clear out of the car, and then just set the saddle in there with nothing holding it in place and gave this car back to it. That is some shady shit, guys. Don't do that to people. And I didn't get paid to fix it, so I didn't fix it. It needs to be fixed, so I'll probably end up fixing it. But not right now. We're creeping up on 212 degrees with the AC on full blast, driving in town on a hot day. That's not bad. It's just got this weird spot when you first push the gas pedal down where it's like nothing, 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 and then that fuel injection wants to give it everything. I know I've heard from a few people that these throttle body fuel injections don't like dual plane intakes, and this has a dual plane intake. I'm betting you a good single plane would really smooth this fuel injection out. Did it burn out?
It was still burning when you were shaking. You had smoke going up there at least sort of north.
That was an accident. Nice. Now that temperature gauge is creeping up a little bit. But we'll go ahead and calm her down, and that should come right back down. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoy the content. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.